Houston Real Estate Radio.
Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. Thanks for tuning in this Sunday, where we're your voice for real estate news and information in the Houston area. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and you are tuned into AM 700 KSEV, and we're broadcasting out of the studio at rrea.com today. Today we're joined by Rhondalyn Riley of Exterior Inspections, and we want to talk specifically about pools. And the reason is because if you live in the Houston area, you really need a pool. It's so hot here. If you don't buy a house with a pool, you usually wind up putting one in. And if you're looking for a house, sometimes you're looking for one specifically with a pool because it's so hot here. So want to talk about pools and some of the things that go along with buying a house that already has a pool versus putting your own pool in. So welcome to the show, Rhondalyn. Glad to have you back.
Thank you, Shannon. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me, let's talk for a minute about the difference between buying a house with a pool and buying a house and putting a pool in. To me, the biggest difference is the money aspect, because pools have become so costly because of all the features that can come with them, the waterfalls and the lights and all the different features that can come with them. And then you have to put in the landscape, and really the ambience around the pool has become so important with the outdoor kitchens and the massive landscaping and all. So to me, it's very expensive to put in a pool, and when you resell the house, you don't get all of that money out. So it's really just for the family's enjoyment. And then on the resale pools, you buy a house and the appraiser doesn't add in much money for it having a pool. So what do you think?
Well, I think you're exactly correct. Installing a pool, the advantage is as well that you get to pick all the stuff down to the grout color, the tile, the finish on the interior, your pool deck, your landscaping, what features you include. But a consumer can expect to pay on the low end, which is not very many bells and whistles. This is a hole in the ground with some water in it, for about $30,000 to $40,000. You get a little bit of landscaping and pool deck, but that's going to be a pretty basic pool. And like you said, when it comes time to resell, there's not going to be a lot of added value to the house. So you're right. It's really for the enjoyment of whoever's going to live there and enjoy the pool.
What do you think? There's a big debate out there when you are putting in a new pool. There's a big debate on whether to go with chlorine or salt system. And for the last couple of years, it's been all about the salt. If you're getting a pool, you got to get the salt system. It's the newest and greatest thing. And now I'm starting to hear people are going back to chlorine. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Well, the thing about saltwater pools is they have equipment that generates chlorine from the salt. It's called an inline generator. So it's not that saltwater pools don't have chlorine as a disinfectant in them, because they do. It's just a matter of the chemicals you're using. One, you're using salt and generating your own chlorine for disinfection of the pool water versus purchasing chlorine itself and adding. So I think both systems are good systems. I think it's a matter of, number one, preference. The salt is much less expensive than the chlorine. And whatever the bather's comfort is. I hear people say, oh, the saltwater pools make my skin feel so nice. They just overall are more comfortable. But that probably has a lot to do with the water chemistry, and it may be easier to control water chemistry with the saltwater pools for some for homeowners.
Yeah, I agree. The maintenance on a saltwater pool seems to be less than a pool that you have to buy a lot of chemicals for. But there are a lot of maintenance companies out there that you can get to come in weekly and take care of your pool. So when you're basically, what we're going to talk about next is inspections. And when you have your home, when you're buying a resale home and it has a pool, you get a general inspection of the entire property. And then if there's something specific that the inspector finds wrong with the pool, then they would call in for a specific pool inspection. Is that right?
Well, pools are considered optional systems for inspectors with regard to our standards of practice, which is our minimum standard of care for inspection. So for a general inspection, there are things that a regular inspector must be looking for, even if they are excluding the pool from the inspection. And I would say that first and foremost, safety first. It's a health, life, and safety issue, and they need to be looking at things such as safety barriers. Is the fence compliant to code for safety? The height of the fence, the clearance at the bottom of the fence from the ground or the pool deck. They're supposed to be looking at gates, how they open to the pool area. For example, they need to open away from the pool. They need to be self-closing, self-latching. They also need to be looking at doors. One of the biggest things that I find when we do an inspection is that a house that has a door that opens directly to a pool area must have an audible alarm on it that can be heard throughout the house, and it should sound for 30 seconds. The pool companies put them on the doors, and then about 5 minutes later, the homeowners take them off because they can't stand to hear that sound through the house every time the back door is open. The other thing that the inspector should be looking for is electrical issues with regard to the pool. The thing is that the pool electrical system is tied in to the main breaker panel for the house, and it is the inspector's responsibility to inspect the electrical system for the house, which would then extend to the pool equipment and to the pool panel. So they need to be looking at things like, is that equipment properly grounded? Is the panel that runs the pool equipment properly installed? What are the clearance for electrical items from the pool's edge? For example, where are the plugs? Where is the equipment, and where is the electrical for that equipment? Also, GFCI stands for Ground Fault Circuit Interrupter Protection. And GFCI protection, most people relate that to those plugs in their kitchen or the plugs in the bathroom, but they're also required around the pool and outside. And those are specifically for shock protection.
And a pool inspection, a general inspection with the house, you're talking about includes the safety issues and the electrical. But if a homeowner's buying a pool, they really need to have that pool inspected. Is that right? And really get down to, making sure there's no leaks and really
Yes.
checking out the system.
So anytime someone's purchasing a property that has a pool installed, it is to their advantage to have the pool inspected, because certainly with pools, there can be some very costly repairs that can be avoided by the consumer by having the pool inspected. And according to our standards of practice for a real estate inspector, the things that we are supposed to be looking for during a pool inspection, if we moved over to the optional system section of the report and the inspection protocol, would be the type of pool construction, electrical things, the safety barrier items. We're going to be looking for leaks above ground, so leaks in the plumbing that are going to and from the pool equipment. Is the pool equipment itself leaking? There's also going to be, we need to find deficiencies in the tiles, the coping, the deck. So is there anything loose or offset or missing around the pool or within the pool surface? And a big one is the drains, the drain system or suction fittings, because those can contribute to drowning by entrapping a swimmer, either with hair or limb entrapment or body entrapment, which can cause drowning.
And what do you think about the heating systems? There are a lot of pools out there that have a spa system connected with them, and so the whole pool can be heated. Does that cause a lot more concern for things that can go wrong, can break? Is there more maintenance with a heated pool versus one that doesn't have a heater?
I think absolutely. We are required to inspect the heating systems or the heaters just like we would expect the heating system for a house. The difference is that the heating system for the pool has water running through it. And depending on the water chemistry, whether the water chemistry is a little bit acid or a little bit alkaline, can impact the performance and longevity of your pool equipment.
What are we talking about as far as price? You have to pay for the general inspector to come through and inspect everything, and then we're talking about a separate pool inspection. How much is that going to run?
Well, I can say that you can probably anticipate $80 to $120 upcharge for the addition of the pool specific inspection.
And then what about if it has the heater, if it has waterfalls and that sort of thing? You're checking everything out. Is that right?
That would be everything, yes.
Okay. So no additional charges for extra lighting and all these extra bells and whistles you can get with pools these days?
Well, that's why I was saying giving you a range of $80 to $120 because obviously the more elaborate the pool controls are, the longer it takes to inspect the pool.
And somebody that's buying a resale house that's never had a pool before, what would you tell them is the biggest maintenance issue that they're going to be dealing with now that they own a pool?
I think the biggest maintenance issue is just going to be maintaining the water and maintaining the equipment.
I think used to that was a huge concern. I know when I was growing up, that was the biggest thing my dad always said is, I don't want to have to take care of the pool. But like I said, nowadays you can have people come out and maintain it. And it's not that expensive. Have somebody come out weekly and take care of that. So there are a lot of great services out there. And when we come back from the break, we're going to have more for you here on Houston Real Estate Radio. But before we leave, Rhondalyn, go ahead and tell us how we can contact you. If somebody out there may need a pool inspection, they can give you a call.
You can contact me at my office number. It's 281-353-8686.
All right, we'll be right back in just a minute.